Hey everyone. I think we might have struck a nerve, or at least Ryan has. The uptick in FUD this weekend is definitely noticeable. And of course, when you're playing video games and you encounter new enemies, you're going in the right direction. So, all good things. Today, we are discussing, what is FUD, and then breaking down some examples of it. Now, of course, I may be misinterpreting a lot of this, so feel free to correct me in the comments below. And then we'll also touch on development through the options chain. We will get a new chain post ex dividend date. The old chain will be adjusted to include the warrants within it, which is super exciting, specifically when we start to look at how much of that existing chain is already in the money within those leaps. So, all exciting things moving forward. It is just the weekend, so there's not necessarily any additional price action to break down. But if you missed the last couple videos, we did have a bearish order block here that we were looking to challenge. We did break through, invalidating it, now transferring that area of resistance now into support, acting as a bullish breaker block. So all things are good here headed into next week. Let's see that reversal on the 1-day form and try to maintain, that 2450 level, 200 exponential moving average. So nothing really new here. That same chart, obviously, on the 4-hour instead of the 1-day shows the reversal a little earlier on. Of course, we have to pair that with the key level breakout, and that's a big part of it because you see, if we just have the reversal but no key level breakout or pairing it, it's a rejection and you're not going to get anywhere. So we do get the two here lining up, which is great. And then not only that, but a trend retest. Now, if you watch my daily trading videos, I'm a bit of a day trader myself and always just going through breaking down all the different setups. This is the moneymaker, at least for me personally. So a setup that I'm comfortable playing with and really excited to see how that unfolds into the coming weeks. It's a little less than a month. I guess it's already the 14th, so TikTok, things are going quickly. The ex-dividend date, of course, on the 3rd. The checklist, if you're unfamiliar, make sure your broker is going to support the warrants. If not, transfer immediately. Round your warrants up to the nearest zero, right? Whole number. Well, not just whole number, but zero. And then turn off your share lending, right? And then confirm the warrants hit your account on the 3rd. And sorry, the 7th. The 7th, they should hit your account. And yeah, all should be good. If not, you might have to make a phone call. However, a lot of people worried about not getting those warrants. I think that might potentially be the mechanism that drives us forward if we are to assume that the brokers have been trading short and just selling unlimited phantom shares, right? So, benefit of the doubt says no, and this will all be distributed without a problem. The more skeptical or tinfoil side says, I hope you're in computer share. So discussing, kind of all of these things today. And first and foremost, before I myself spew too much FUD, what is it? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. This content's going to replace facts with conjecture, selectively omits market mechanics, or pushes prescriptive actions like sell your warrants, DRS is bad, without citing specifically how that will work on the market mechanics side of things. Why does it take place? The incentives? Well, engagement farming, right? It's a really great time to be doing this. Brokerage convenience or attempts to increase available supply, right? Like, obviously, if you were short of something that's going to be in scarce supply, you'd like to drum up some sells. I don't know if you are familiar with how the financial system works, but it's basically a draw on liquidity. We have these shows that are basically selling you stocks day to day. And well, that's not for a reason. Every buyer has a seller, and when they're selling you something to buy, they're typically the seller. So always trying to drive your liquidity, typically in an incorrect fashion, right? Get you to buy when it's high and sell when it's low. And that's what I believe we're seeing here. So, it's just going to make it easier on them, the hedging and constraints that they may potentially find themselves in coming weeks and months. So maybe even just misunderstanding. Right now, I think I kind of fall under that category where I'm not necessarily being nefarious with my opinions. Um, but I just have a fundamental misunderstanding on how it works, and then we as a community can help alleviate that. So, just important that everybody is okay with being called an idiot, right? Like, some people don't like to be told that they're wrong, but we're all wrong, a lot of the time. So that's okay. The important part is that we can get past that, work together, and try to navigate through everything as correctly as we can as a community. So, um, corporate action plumbing is confusing. Due bills, deliverables, OCC adjustments, they're niche. People are confidently going to get them wrong all the time, and I'm sure I do as well. I mean, I'm not, an insider within the plumbing mechanism of that, or have studied it for years. Just a little bit from the outside. I'm sure now that we're running the channel, maybe get more into that. Something that I just glazed past in the past, though. And then just narrative control, framing uncertainty around the record date. It's good. Pinning of the price, or anti-DRS behavior, right? So just trying to persuade maybe not even the masses, but specific individuals, again, not to alleviate everything, but a little bit of the pressure in their benefit, or best interest, right? So when new information comes out and there is a little bit of confusion, it's the perfect time for them to get in with that confusion and push specific narratives here or there, even if not related to the subject at hand, right? So just food for thought. Be aware of this. There's more at stake than I think a lot of us can really comprehend. And I say billionaires in disguise, right? So I think that we've got guardian angels, on our side, as well as a lot of bad actors as well. It's not just us individuals who are on one side of the trade, right? There's a lot more going on here behind the scenes. So, anyways, let's talk about some posts that we've seen, and then we'll talk about the option chain, how that's been adjusted, and our opinions on everything moving forward. And again, thank you all so much for supporting the channel. I didn't expect it. I was like, yeah, I'll put out a video, see how it does. 2,000 views on the last 2 videos is substantial for a content creator. Thank you so much. Literally helping me exercise my warrants, right? You guys are fantastic. Hopefully this continues to pan out. If you're interested, I also play Magic the Gathering on YouTube for like 6 years now. Hello, good game. Give it a visit. I'd love to showcase a new deck for you. Always a new brew every day. But yeah, the warrant posts. So much going on. So I took some screenshots. Let's talk about it, right? So, you must keep 10 shares to keep your warrants. This implies the ongoing 10 share requirement. This one is true, but a separate security. You don't have to keep your shares once the warrant's delivered to keep your warrant. But this is, in my opinion, FUD disguised as fact, right? So they're pointing out something that would potentially hurt retail's best interest. They're saying, hey, you don't have to keep your shares once you get the warrant, take the warrant, sell your shares. It just seems like an odd thing to mention, right? Moving forward, we do have quite a few of these to go through. So sell one share, then exercise the warrant. This is going to force shorts to cover. It suggests a magic cover loop. The fact of it is that selling adds supply. Exercising is going to create a new share from the company. The real pressure is from the short warrant hedging. Dealers who are short the warrants, who don't have them, have to buy GameStop to hedge that, right? And then the borrow recall dynamics are potentially adding to that, but it's not a loop, right? That is magically going to force them to cover. What it will do is, if things go well, add pressure, right? But the selling of your share to exercise the warrant, I don't think is this magic loop that we're potentially suggesting. So they'll pin the price under 32 for a year, so warrants expire worthless. This is treating the strike as a lid, right? Long-dated warrants have time value and positive delta even below 32. And as the price approaches 32, the delta is going to ramp, and the hedgers have to buy more GameStop to stay, at equilibrium or survive, right? So a year-long pin is going to be costly and path dependent. We all know that GameStop, at least in its past, was fairly volatile. Now that has died down, but are we to assume that Ryan's a doofus? Did he pick this strike thinking that they could do that? Do you assume that he didn't have that thought? He just didn't even consider it, right? Man, that would be doofus. So it's path dependent. It's whether we finish the year at 32, maybe we do, but along the way, maybe there are spikes, and now the obligations are compounded, and that's what I like to do. Is think of it as adding layers of stress to that side of the trade, additional taxation, right? And this is exactly that. So, moving forward. So suppressing volatility for an entire year is expensive, right? Talked about that. So if a company says all warrants are exercised, but you still see them, they're fake. This claims that market makers can mint new corporate warrants, but only the issuer can create and cancel them. Residual line items, settlements, and option lag are not new issuances, right? So only GameStop's making these warrants. They're only passing so many of them out. Of course, this is going to play out, and this is where the uncertainty comes in, because I can't necessarily say for certain, and no one can. We just have to assume and give them benefit of the doubt that the brokers will be able to deliver all of the warrants. But it wouldn't be that all have been exercised. It would be that you didn't get your warrants, right? So the way that the plumbing works, right, is just you wouldn't receive it, rather than receiving it, and then when you go to exercise, say no, right? So a lot of this, whether it's just a misunderstanding, is probably more likely than not. But so it's them not having the warrant, which is going to drive the feedback loop, not you going to exercise and be getting screwed, right? So you kind of see how the perception is like defeatist there. So get rich selling and exercising now. One size fits all action. Early exercise is going to forfeit all your time value. It's also going to limit your brain fart. I'm not leaving until I get it. Your exposure. Oh, yes, thank you. That took way too long. Oh my god. But it's going to limit your exposure because you don't have that warrant anymore, right? So just hold on to it. You're chill. Early exercise is going to burn your value, and it's going to lighten the warrant hedging pressure, which again is kind of the theme we're getting with all these different posts. Is that's the common thread, is the recommendations that we're seeing lighten the hedging pressure that is potentially going to come forth. So that was number 5. I think this is our 6th one now. I got a couple more. Don't worry. Brokers will keep your warrants and pay you cash. So implies routine confiscation. The brokers or transfer agent must credit the entitlement. Cash in lieu is mostly for fractional or ineligible accounts. Escalating in writing if blocked, right? You got to be going into your broker, and that's going to be something that potentially plays out. I don't know. We'll see. But this strategy is going to depend on your spreads, your taxes, and of course your goals. So you don't want to sell exercise early at all, or exercise early is what I mean to say. You're relieving that pressure, right? And that's again the kind of the common thing that I've been picking up this weekend, which makes sense, right? So cancel your computer and DRS. It is pointless. Universal prescription. DRS is custody, not magic or a scam. Shares in your name as a transfer agent art in a broker's lending pool. That's the big one. And you get your rights as a shareholder guaranteed, which is also important. So keep cancel. It's personal preference. I don't know why you would necessarily tell anyone what you're doing specifically. So that seems suspect. So just lightening the load, and then doing all of these things under the guise of positivity, right? So it is quite interesting to observe. Maybe again, I'm just paranoid, but Anywho, that's another conversation. Warrants are never worth exercising. This is an absolute rule that, I mean, they're implying on you apparently, and it's often true early, right? But not universal. The exercise can make sense when deep in the money near expiry for profit, but also voting and eligibility needs, right? Maybe you need those. So let's just take it slow, right? We don't even have the warrant terms and conditions released yet. Um, that'll come out, and then we can all continue to grow our knowledge base on this. And you know, again, a lot of this may not necessarily be nefarious. It could just be fundamental understanding, right? As we all do try to share our opinion and thoughts, Reddit. So number 9. How many does he have? Ex-dividend price drops by a fixed amount. 30 cents shows up in your account 90 days. It's going to treat non-cash entitlements like fixed cash. For non-cash warrants, there's no fixed subtraction. The market price is ex-warrants stock and warrants separately. There's 90-day claims or total speculation. Again, we don't have, the warrants info out yet. And then this one was pretty suspect as well. So, registered holders can profit without selling shares. This one is true. You can sell, hold, exercise the warrants while continuing to hold your shares. But again, are you sure? Selling warrants doesn't help shorts. Many are fake. Take the cash. Interesting. Inflates, lag with issuance. Only the issuer creates the warrants. Selling warrants increases supply of them, letting desks that owe delivery buy them and reduce their need to keep hedging GameStop. And that's what we don't want to do, but yet somehow we're recommending it over and over in highly upvoted DDs. Hoarding equals tighter warrant supply, which is a heavier stock hedge on their end, which is what's going to drive price improvement on our end. So again, FUD disguises fact, pointing out something that would potentially hurt retail's best interest, even though true, right? Right, and again, does it help shorts? Not really. Well, you're reducing their need to hedge, so kind of. Again, I could be wrong. And this is the same thing, without selling their shares, which means you'd be selling your warrant, which again reduces the hedge pressure. I don't think that's correct. So plenty of examples that we've seen today. So, are these posts nefarious or just ignorance? Likely ignorance. Confident by citation-free takes on due bills, expiry dates, and OCC adjustments. Absolutists never exercise claims. Fixed expiry date, haircut math. Again, this is us just trying to figure things out. Everybody wants to be right first instead of just sitting quietly and mapping it all out and then coming out 5 days later at the risk of not being first. People just hit it hard, and I get that, right? This is the same with the YouTube videos. We're on every single night as a recap, and sure, we could wait a week until we're absolutely positive, but then we're very much behind the times, right? So I do understand that side of it, right? And again, may also be guilty of this. So if I'm wrong about anything, please don't hesitate. That's what the comments are for, and then we can have that discussion there, right? And kind of figure out the truth of things. So potentially nefarious, though. The underlying theme to reduce the hedging pressure required by the warrants, specifically if shorts and undeliverable, is interesting. GameStop's filled with coincidence, and I'm sure that this is just another, right? However, moving forward, we have a adjusted options chain. So every option that is out right now will be adjusted to include the warrants and be listed as a new ticker, GME or something, right? And all the new options post dividend date, the 3rd, the expiry date, will be like the options are now, right? What you've been used to. So this is interesting because so many of those old options that will now have the warrant price baked into it, um, they're in the money, right? Those are really nice options. So um, it's about layering stress and squeezing their liquidity. The stock price, who knows what that happens? I'm not saying we're going to squeeze the stock price by any means, but we're taxing them for being on the other side of the trade, right? And that's going to hurt their margins, and maybe some of them decide to back out of the trade, right? I don't know. So we get the warrant obligations. We have a gamma ramp forming, right? We have the interest rates coming our way as well, and potentially an unwinding of the carry trade. So just and I may be even missing layers to this onion. Each layer helps our side of the trade. They have their own layers helping them, no doubt. We're not necessarily super focused on that. Um, I'm sure they exist, right? Why wouldn't they? But as far as what we're doing, to strengthen our side of the trade, it looks good, right? Whether that's and not only that, but the bonds as well is another layer of this onion with the forced conversion rate, and that would unwind that arbitrage hedge, right? So there are different cascading layers to this, starting to add up, which is super interesting when we also pair that with how upset everyone seems to be today. Like maybe again it's just confusion. I get that. I'm excited too. Closing thoughts. Warrants aren't coupons, they're obligations. If a holder hoards them, short desks will need those warrants, and they'll have to hedge GameStop buying shares to do so. And as the price approaches 32, selling the warrants is going to add supply and reduce the hedge demand, which is what we really want to hold on to, right? Specifically when we get above 32. DRS is a custody choice, not a scam, and always just trying to focus on mechanics over hype. Even though I'm very much unfamiliar with many mechanics, always open to learn them and move forward with a greater understanding. So not much for you guys today. Just kind of here to talk and say thank you mostly to everybody who's joined the channel and subscribed. We'll be here every day. Even after GameStop does its move, and I'm sure ideally we're all just reinvesting into GameStop, and Ryan takes care of us. I have no doubt of that. But we'll be doing, we'll be keeping busy on the side as well, doing the daily trading videos, specifically to hone in my skill within technical analysis, right? So if you're ever interested in those, drop by, say hello. Always breaking through our entry models and risk management over there. Of course, you can watch me play Magic the Gathering as well on Hello Good Game. Aside from that, thank you one more time. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.